So now moving to the next slide, we will be discussing about data types. So data types, we need to use a lot of data types in our programs because the programs, all the programs will be actually working on data, right? We in computers, most of our activities are concentrated on data. How we can add data, how we can subtract data, how we can divide data. That's about the integer data. That means the number data. Similarly, we have lot of data, other data types like if I have a kind of a name, that's also a data, but we cannot write my name Arjun as integers. It can be written as only characters, so we should need another data type. So that's a char data type. So as the name suggests here, data type represent the type of data which we can process using our computer program. So it can be numeric data, alphanumeric data, decimal data, any kind of data. So in order to represent any kind of data, we use a data type. So here are some example. So these are the popular data types associated in C++ language. So you can see int over here, int my number equal to 5. So it's a integer data type which actually shows a whole number, the number without a decimal point. Then we have float data point which means like the number can be decimal numbers. So that's why, so if we are handling numbers which can be having decimal points, then we can use float as well as double. If it is having a lot of decimal like values after decimal points, then we will be using double. Then if we are handling characters like names, strings, etc., then we can use character data type. Then we have bool data type which actually we use for storing the true or false values. If something is true, we can assign that variable true. Then that kind of variable should be having bool data type. Then we have string. It's a new data type which is added in C++. It was not in C programming language. So string data types can store a lot of characters together. But in case of char data type, it can only store one character at a time. So here are the popular data types in C++ we are handling. So here are, these are the data types. So if we are like writing a program, and if I want to introduce a new variable to the computer, I will be using a data type. Suppose I want to add two numbers, and one is I have to know what kind of numbers it is. So it will be a as it is number, I am just adding two numbers, means like 5 and 8. It's not having any kind of decimal places, so I can declare two integer variables. So I can use this statement int a comma b semicolon. This means like my variables a and b can hold numbers. Similarly, for each and every data type which we use in program, each and every variable which we use in program, we should identify the data type and declare those variables at the beginning or anywhere in the program. So in case of C programming language, you should define all the variables in the beginning itself. But when it comes to C++, you have a choice to define the data type anywhere in the program. But just before using that variable, you have to define its data type. So here you have the list of data types, and a special data type is also there to specify there is nothing associated with a variable, that is void data type. It's called an empty data type. It means there is nothing associated with a variable. Then it's a void data type. It's a special data type. So how we can declare a variable? That's what we are showing here. So we have data type followed by the variable name. So int sum, int area, like that. And we can also, while declaring the variable, it means like that variable is not still used in the program, but we are actually introducing that variable to the computer or compiler. So if we want to give a value to a variable while we are declaring it, it's called initialization. So we can initialize the variable in two ways. One is direct, after declaration you can initialize the variable, Another way is like during the declaring itself we can initialize the variable. So if I want to get a variable called result which is of integer type, and I want to assign the answer, or I want to assign a value of 5 in it, I can do like this. So int result equal to 5. So the syntax is data type variable name equal to value. That is an assignment example. Now we have constants. So constants are also variables, but their value will not change in the program. Once we define a constant in a program, it will remain the same. We cannot change the value of that constant. If we are trying to change the value, it will result in an error. So here you have like two ways to declare a constant, that is using hash define preprocessor. We have already studied about hash include. It's a preprocessor, right? So it's having a specific meaning which will tell the compiler to include all the associated files needed for executing that program. Similarly, we have another preprocessor directive that is called hash define. So hash define is used to create constants. So if I want to create a constant called pi, then I can just write hash define pi 3.14. So then it will actually create a constant called pi with the value 3.14, which cannot be changed. Another way is using constant keyword, const keyword. So const data type, then the variable name, then equal to the value. So this is another way of declaring a constant.